Thank you. I would like to thank Dr. Ashok Sharma for inviting me for this very interesting and relevant infection course. And so my talk is on management of severe corneal thinning and perforations in advanced peripheral ulcerative keratitis patients using banana grafts. So we know that in these kind of cases, the perforation is typically in the periphery of the cornea, and usually it is accompanied by a crescentic area of corneal thinning in these patients. So that makes it so much more challenging to preserve the vision, especially in these patients. So if we look at the surgical options for PUK, one is conjunctival resection or peritectomy, a cyanoacrylate adhesive, or conjunctival flaps, amniotic membrane grafts, tectonic lamellar grafts, penetrating corneal grafts, or the patch grafting that we do in these patients. Important thing is that we have to treat the associated disease, which is like if it is infective, we have to treat the infection. If it's a systemic disease, we have to treat the systemic disease. And also if it is associated with some autoimmune disease, we have to treat that. Now, in case of smaller corneal perforations, they are relatively easier to manage. And in this case, what I am doing is I am cutting out with a skin biopsy punch a 3 millimeter graft, and a similar matching graft is taken from a eye which is mounted on an artificial anterior chamber, and this is then sutured, and this is the end of the surgery after injecting some air. But in cases of large peripheral perforations, it becomes a huge challenge how we treat these patients, especially in view of some of these patients, they might be having surgically induced scleral necrosis. Now, before planning the keratoplasty, important is to investigate the patients to rule out any systemic association, also to culture the patient to rule out any infection, and also to immunosuppress the patient so that to halt the lysis and prevent the progression of the disease, including surgically induced scleral necrosis. Now, this patient presented with a peripheral iris prolapse, corneal thinning, and also in this, and you can look at the other eye, this is already thicycle. Many of these patients, because classically the disease is bilateral, so it is not uncommon to have many of these patients as one-eyed patients. And in this case, what we did is I did a sutureless graft. So the challenging part is to harvest the lamellar graft and then to seal it with the fibrin glue instead of sutures, because when we put sutures, we are applying, inducing a lot of astigmatism in these patients. You should do a little bit of cautery over the prolapsed iris tissue. That takes care of the epithelium, and it shrinks the prolapsed iris tissue so that you are able to kind of place the graft. So in this case, you can use either a double trephine method, or you can use the marking method. Using a die, you can measure with the caliper, and then you can just cut. So this is a partial thickness dissection of the cornea, and using blunt instruments, this is matching the amount of tissue that we require in the periphery of this patient, and then this is harvested, and then this tissue is matched to the periphery of the cornea, and then the fibrin glue is applied in this patient, and this graft is then stuck onto the cornea. So classically, it's very difficult to stick anything with fibrin glue. So you have to dry the bed, prepare the bed well, de-epithelize the bed, and only then you can hope that this graft is going to stick. Bandage contact lens is applied. So in this case, patient did very well, and we can see that the patient did develop a cataract after 2 months. Visual acuity was 6/36, and if you look at the pentacam of the patient had a fairly regular astigmatism. So I went ahead with toric IOL in this patient, and the cataract surgery was uneventful. I'll not go into that. And at the end of the procedure, the patient gained a vision of 6/9 and was recurrent free after 3 years. So this is the final picture of the patient. Some of these patients can really have a good outcome, and at the end of the day, when we apply sutures, sometimes these are such extensive pathologies that they can induce so much of astigmatism, it becomes very difficult to visually rehabilitate the patient. In some of these patients, we can use intraoperative OCT. In this case, I had tried a sutureless graft, but then this graft did not work. It didn't stick properly, so I went ahead and applied the sutures, and I used the intraoperative OCT at the same time. To sum up, that the banana grafts of PUK are preferably they should be done under GA and maybe combined with peritectomy in these patients. As we know, peritectomy has a role to play in PUK patients, and we should lower the intraocular pressure, preferably by giving mannitol before surgery to avoid prolapse of the intraocular contents. So we should have prepared the recipient bed well, and we should fashion sharp edges after thoroughly removing, and we should using a blade. And then there should be very careful dissection of the donor eye, whether it is mounted on an artificial anterior chamber or whether we are using a whole globe. But there are different techniques to match, how to match the tissue. In this case, I'm doing a freehand dissection and trimming the tissue according to the size of the perforation that I require. So there are different other shaped grafts, like you can also use a square or a rectangular graft in some of these patients. And if it's a limited pathology with a very isolated prolapse, it works very well because it might induce lesser astigmatism because of the lesser amount of donor tissue which is sutured on. And some of these larger perforations can be a real challenge. So some of the techniques described are the copy and fix technique or the stenciling prick and print technique. And it depends on the surgeon experience how he wants to treat these patients. But if treated well, in my experience, sutureless lamellar, annular, semi-annular grafts, they do very well in these patients. The disease quietens down very well because you've not applied the sutures. And one thing you should keep in mind is that the disease can recur once you've done. So just doing a keratoplasty is not the end of surgery. And in one study, it was found that there was a very, very high rate of recurrence of almost 25% of the disease in these patients. So to conclude, sutureless fibrin glue assisted semi-annular tectonic lamellar grafts are relatively simple to perform and have an excellent long-term outcomes in these patients. And because it's such a serious disorder, many of these patients, we should be aggressive in doing surgical intervention in these patients. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Gupta. As he is leaving, do you have any questions for him? Otherwise, you will leave now. He has flight at 2:30, no?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you so much.